Hey guys, welcome back. Um, what I'm planning on doing here, this is at my house. This is our last bedroom that needs to be remodeled. And then we still have to do the kitchen, the master bathroom, and then I'm doing the basement. But in here, I want to build two closets, one on each side, and an electric fireplace is going in the middle. Every bedroom I've put an electric fireplace in, and then our living room has a gas fireplace, and then we're putting a gas fireplace in the kitchen as well. So basically it's going to be two 2-foot doors over here, two 2-foot doors over there, so it'll be two closets, fireplace, and then a little mantel with a TV above it. I'll show you what it looks like in the master bedroom, because I'm going to pretty much do exactly what that is. Now when I build these closet walls in here, I'm going to build them in place. So basically I'm going to mount the sill plate up on the ceiling, mount my 2x4 on the wall. The headers I'm going to make for the doors are not going to be a normal header that you would build when you're building a house, because these are just closet doors and there's no structure above it. The wall is not holding up any weight above it, so we don't have to go crazy with building headers or anything like that. So this is a little messy in here. This kind of became a catch-all, a bunch of Christmas stuff. But if you look in the house here, you can see everything, all these ceilings and everything have all these wooden beams. That's how the whole house is. That's how all the bedrooms are and everything. You can see it above the staircase going down to the basement. But in here, you can see these are the two closets I was talking about. And the fireplace. I got a light over here somewhere. Right. So that lights up, and those are all on dimmers as well. But so I'm going to duplicate this identical thing in that last bedroom. So let's go over there. We'll get some 2x4s going, and we can start building those. I want to do that, get that bedroom done so that I can move to the basement next. If you look in here, I even built beams and everything all by the ceiling. So it's pretty much how it's going. This is vinyl flooring, actually. It's not wood. So, all right, let me get set up and we'll start building these closets. Okay, what I want to do is map out on the floor where the base of the closet is and how wide they are and everything. And if you're wondering what this gray stripe is here, this was a road that I painted on the floor, and I had green carpet that looked like grass on each side. And when my son was like 5, I built him a Lightning McQueen bedroom. It had a red Lightning McQueen race car bed here. The walls were like red and blue, I think it was. And he had toolboxes for dressers, and he had lights that hang down, shop lights and stuff like that. So it was actually pretty cool. And I had put down a layer of 1/4-inch plywood that I painted this on. So, which works out good because I ended up putting 1/4-inch plywood through the rest of the house. And when I did that, I put that vinyl flooring on it. So I don't have to put the 1/4-inch plywood in here now because there's already in here. So we can just continue the vinyl flooring into here once we get the closets built, the ceiling done, and all the walls done with the pine, tongue, and groove. After we get all that done, we can put the flooring in. Now, the fireplace is going to be here in the center. I need to run another plug for the fireplace, a 20 amp circuit. It only requires a 15 amp circuit, but I always I want it to be strong enough to handle it. And then this plug right here, what we'll do is all the closets in the house except for the foyer so far, when you open the 2 doors, the lights turn on. So the lights, when you open the 2 doors, there's a switch inside the closet that what am I trying to say here? Senses motion. So as soon as the door is open, the lights turn on. So what we'll do is we'll grab power from this plug. We'll just make some channels in the drywall. That's what I did in the other bedroom. We'll just take our saw, we'll cut grooves through the drywall, or we'll cut a bigger groove and we'll drill through the 2x4s, and then we'll stick the wire through, because we're gonna need a wire. I put a plug in each closet as well. So we're gonna need a plug and a switch in each closet, and then a light and stuff above the fireplace. And then we'll have it an individual circuit that will be just for the fireplace itself. So let's map out on the floor here what we have going on here. And let's see what kind of room we have. So the closets are 24 inches deep. So we need to come out 24 inches. And I don't know if I'll get a lot done on this video, but I want to get it started. And then it's 58 inches wide, which I don't even know if that's going to work in this room very well. No, we're going to have to go less than that, because at 58 inches on both sides, that only leaves me with a 19-inch opening, which is not going to work for the fireplace. So this fireplace is 2 feet, a little smaller than 2 feet. So the doors are 24 inches each. They're 23 3/4 wide. So you need 24 and 24, because you gotta have a gap between them. So that's 48 inches. So that's 48 inches for the 2 doors. And then we need 3/4 of an inch. We need an inch on each side for the door jamb. So we're at 50 inches. We need a minimum of a 50-inch opening for those double doors. So 50 inches, I mean, we can make the 2x4 wall sideways, but I don't really want to have to do that because I want to put the switches on the inside. So 50 inches is bare minimum on that front wall. Plus 3.5 for the thickness of a 2x4. Plus 3/4 of an inch for the pine on the outside. So what are we looking at there? We're looking at 50, 53.5, 54.25. So 55, we can get away with 55 inches. Let's see what that works out to be. So if we got 55 over here, 55 over here, that leaves me with a 25-inch opening between the two. I wonder if I should cut those doors down to 23 inches. I can rip the one side down that bolts to the hinge side. Those are solid core doors, so I can rip an inch off the end. It'll be a little bit out of proportion, but I don't think it'll be that noticeable. I'm trying to make the fireplace not look like it's crunched between the 2 closets. I thought I had this measured out, but apparently I didn't. So if I take an inch off the doors, then we're looking at 2 inches off. So we're at 48 inches wide. Am I right? No, I'm not. 48 plus 3.5 is 51.5, 52.25. We'll say 52.5. That leaves us with a 30-inch opening. I think that's probably reasonable. I do have a TV, an extra TV in the basement. I'm gonna go measure how wide that is, because I want to put a TV in here just to have one. So let me go measure. Okay, the TV is 30.5 inches wide. It's a 32-inch TV. We're at about 30.25. We can make it work. So we'll be cutting an inch off the door on each side that goes on the hinge side. I think it'll be fine. I should have ordered 22-inch wide doors, but I don't know if they made them. All the doors in this house I bought just the door blank itself, because I'm putting that 3/4-inch pine over the drywall on both sides of these walls. So going from 4.5 inches, now it is 6 inches wide. So I had to make my own custom door jambs, which I'll show you all that in here in this video, not this video, but in this series of videos. So I had to make all my own door jambs and then hang the doors myself. That's how it's been in the whole house. Because I didn't want to rip the drywall down, because why would I want to rip that down when it's just an extra layer of insulation? You got another 1/2 inch, just makes everything a lot better sound and everything. So we're gonna go, plus I gave myself 1 inch on each side for the jamb, which technically I can go 3/4 and 3/4, which is 1.5 inches rather than 2 inches. So instead of being 50, 48.5, I mean, it's pushing it, it's making it close. 48.5, 49.5, 40, what did I say, 49. 49 plus 3.5, 3.5 is going to bring us to 52.5. 52.5 plus 0.75, which is going to bring us to 53.25. So 53.25. So that's 53.25 inches outside. Okay, that's if I keep it normal 24-inch doors. Okay, so let me redo the math here. So let's say we have two 23-inch doors. They'll actually be 22 3/4, but they're gonna be 23. 23 and 23 is 46. 46, then we have 1.5 inches for jambs. So 1.5, we'll just say 2. That's 48. Plus 3.5. 51.5 plus 3.75. That brings us to 52.5. 52.5 inches wide. That's right where I have it marked at. So we need to go in from there. We need to be at 52 inches. You cannot go past 52 inches. And that is with the pine on the outside of the closet. So technically I need to build this wall at 51.25. I'm gonna circle it. That's our line right there, 51.25. Well, I wish I would have known and should have checked to see what size doors they sold, but we're gonna make it work. We don't have a choice. Have to make things work sometimes. So that's gonna leave me with a 31-inch opening. That TV is 30.5 inches. So it'll make it. It'll work out good. Okay, so these two circle lines are, that's where the 2x4 sits. The outside of the 2x4 sits here. There's an X here. I don't even know if you guys can see what I'm doing down here. Okay, now we gotta come out 24. That's to the 24, and then our 2x4 will be out here. Now, normally, I would build a base plate along the front of the wall, but this is going to be pretty much all closet opening, so we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to build these two walls here first. So we're going to build a base plate here of, gotta make sure I'm doing this right. It's gonna take me a second of thinking here. Thinking out loud, so our 2x4 is here, 3.5. That's where our 2x4 is. 51.25. 51.25. So if this comes out 24, and that's our outside of our closet is 24 inches. So because we got to put a 2x4 on that wall as well. So let me think about this for a couple minutes. I'll come back once I figure out what I'm gonna do here. Okay, so basically what I'm gonna do is we gotta put a 2x4 along this wall here. Okay, right here. Screw it right up the wall. And then we need a door jamb, which is 3/4. So from the wall to this outer line is 2 1/4 inches. Then if we measure from this outer line over to here, what we're gonna end up having to do is when you open the closet door, you're gonna see the edge of this wall on this side. So when the door opens, you're gonna see a 3.5 inch wall behind the door. All I can do without buying 4 new doors and not using these other ones for anything. So they're not super expensive, but they are probably $800 for all 4. So I'm not gonna go throw away $800 and buy 4 new doors. So we are gonna just work with what we have. So basically, I need to cut a 2x4 for this wall first, from floor to ceiling. Actually, no, not floor to ceiling. We need to leave it down 1.5 inches. So let me measure the height here. We're at 8 1/4 feet. So we're at 96 1/4. Doesn't matter if I write on the walls because it's going to get covered with pine. So we're at 96 1/4 over there, minus. Let me get this side real quick first. See how straight this house really is. That's the same, 96 1/4. So we have 96 1/4. That's from floor to ceiling. Now we have to minus off 1.5 inches for the top plate along the ceiling. So then we have 96, 95 1/4 is 1 inch. So we have 95, 94 3/4. So I gotta go cut 2 2x4s to 94 3/4. So I'm gonna go cut 2 of those. I'm not gonna video me cutting the wood. I'm just gonna get it cut, bring it in here, and we'll install it. So I gotta bring in 2 2x4s that are 94 3/4 tall. And we'll set them on the floor and we'll screw them into this wall. I don't know if there's anything to screw into in this wall. I'm gonna have to see where the studs are. That might change the depth of the closet a little bit by where that 2x4 goes up the wall, because I want to be able to screw into a stud in the wall. I don't want the 2 foot to come out and then this 2x4 has nothing to screw into. I don't want it just screwing into the drywall. So let me go cut 2 of these and I'll come back. Okay, let's see what we have at the 24 inch mark here. And take a screw and screw it into the wall, see if we have anything. Chances are we won't, because it should be, depending on how they built this wall, this is an exterior wall, so technically there's a 2x4 here, and then it should be over 16 inches right here, and then there should be another one of 32 inches, but I don't want these closets to be out 32 inches, so I might have to find a different way to fasten these. Okay, so they didn't build it like that. That's the thing, you never know how they built these walls. Okay, so there's a stud there. That's the outside of the stud. So the stud's right here. Yep, so this is the center of the stud. It's technically 16 inches should be right here. Okay, gonna have to do is screw the 2x4 into the floor and then into the sill plate, and then we could probably catch the upper sill plate, and the sides will be all right because once I put the pine and everything on it, it should be fine. But let me go get a level real quick. I just brought my 2-foot level in. And the outside wall's perfectly level, so technically if I measure from here over 24, top and bottom will be level. But I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm just gonna use my level. So I'm gonna set this 2x4 on the floor. There's an 1.5 inch gap up top that I can slide my upper 2x4 into, my top plate. Okay, where do I put that screw at? All right, we're good right there. So I'm gonna get a screw into the bottom here, into the bottom plate of the wall. These are 3.5 inch long screws. Get a step ladder. I thought I had one in here. Let's see if we can get an upper screw on an angle into that upper plate. Technically, this house should have a double upper plate because that's code, but not necessarily on an interior wall. Exterior walls, yes. But in theory, they should have done it on the inside walls too, but we'll see. We'll actually see what happens. Yep, they did. Okay, good. Level this out. Screw started first. One more in the bottom. All right, so that's done. Now what I'm probably gonna do is I really want to get some strength on the center here. I mean, it's pretty solid. It might be okay. Once I build the upper header and everything, I think it'll probably be all right. I could probably put the pine in the closet here up to the 2x4 and maybe run a screw at a real drastic angle into the pine on the wall to help secure it. So let's go over to this side now. We'll put this 2x4 up. I think I'm gonna have to take that plate off the wall right there. That's just an old phone line. So if I'm just gonna take it off and we can just put the pine right over it. Not worried about the wires in there or anything. They're just phone wires. There's no power involved. And then when we steal power from that plug, this is actually a cable wire, an old cable wire. So we'll just leave that in here. Thought it was a phone line. Phone line's on that other wall. But anyways, when we tap into this plug over here on this back wall for our power for the closets, what I'll do is I'll take the plug out permanently and I'll put a blank cover on that wall after I put the pine on the wall. So the pine will go on the wall and then there'll be a blank cover. I'll use that as a junction box. So I'll have a clear cover, or I'll have a smooth cover on it that I can get to those wires if I ever need to, if there ever becomes a problem. So let's stick this 2x4 on this wall. I'm going to measure over here just to make sure that we're lined up on each side. Wow, why is that crooked? Is the wall crooked over here? Let's dip at the bottom. 1 second, guys. Yep, this wall over here, good thing I leveled that 2x4. This wall over here at the bottom, this dives in really bad. Really bad. So it's a good thing I leveled this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a measurement. Easiest way to get that side the same as this is, let's just do it real easy. I'm going to measure up 5 feet, 60 inches, 24 and a half. Inches, 24 and a half. 2x4 goes right there. Let's grab this one. Oh, that cable box is not even in the way right now. Just want to get a screw started before I level it. I'm on my mark, and I'm really crooked. Bottom's got to get kicked over. Go the wrong way. Sure did. What am I doing? Just about lined up here. That looks good there. Should put 1 screw in. I don't like the way that it lifted the 2x4 off the floor. So I'm going to redo that one. I'm going to use the other side first here. Not cooperating. Even though I'm on my mark, I'm just checking to make sure. Alright, 2x4 cracked a little bit, but it'll be fine. Alright, so now we have those two up there. Probably won't do a ton on this video because this is taking a little bit longer than I thought because I screwed up on the door size. Okay, so now we have that up there. So now we need to build these other walls. $23 3/4 out. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go grab a chalk line. We're gonna snap a chalk line across the base. Okay, I'm gonna snap a chalk line from one 2x4 to the other on the inside and the outside. Then we'll know exactly where our wall is. We'll set this right at the edge of the 2x4. That's the outside. That's our inside. Let's go ahead and do the same thing on the ceiling. Now, I'm probably only going to work on this for an hour a day. I have so many things going on right now that I plan on working on this all weekend, but I'm probably only going to get about an hour or two of work in on this each day this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. But, you know, it's a start. I'm getting something started so I get this thing done. With all the cars and arcades and everything else I'm working on, I'm a little short on time, plus my regular job. Okay. This is where it would be nice to have a second person to hold this chalk line, because right now the screw is just in the drywall, but it should be all right. I should have brought a second ladder in with me. I wonder if I can just tighten that screw all the way up. If it'll hold it tight to the ceiling. Gotta go through the smaller hole on the chalk line. Untangle. Get this spun the right way. That should hold it. Let that hang down for a minute. If I had my second ladder in here, I wouldn't have to move ladders around. But I only have 2 lines of chalk up here, so this is not the end of the world. The outside, just got to do one on the inside. Roll this back up so it gets chalk all the way down the line. And if you're wondering, it's Friday night, a little bit after 9 o'clock at night, and I'm just starting this project. So everybody who wonders, how do I get so much done in a day? I work like 16 hours a day. That's pretty much how it goes. Okay, now we have the ceiling marked and the floor marked. So now we need to cut a bottom plate that goes from the wall to the inside chalk line, 24 3/8. Let's see if the side's the same. It might not be. This side's 24 1/8. That just goes to show that that wall's pretty crooked over there. So we need a 24 1/8 inch piece and a 24 3/8. So I'm gonna go cut those two. And I'll be back. Shorter one goes on this side. The longer one goes on this side. Okay. Let's take a measurement here. 51 1/4, just like I said. So we're pretty good on that one. So there's, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go grab my square. I'm bringing all these tools in, but I'm gonna use them throughout the weekend, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay, I'm on my line that I measured from, but if you take your square and you hold it against the 2x4 here, and then hold it along the chalk line, and that is actually perfect right where it's at. But it's always good to check square so that this wall is square to your other wall. So I'm gonna screw this bottom plate through into the floor. Now I'm screwing through 1/4 inch plywood and 3/4 inch plywood. So that's plenty for a closet wall. I'm not worried about hitting the floor joists for these. Okay, that one's in. I'm on my line. Let's just measure. Make sure we're at, where did I say this needs to be? 51 1/4. We're at 51, which means I'm crooked. 51 1/4 is right there. Check with our square. And we're off a little bit, which means we gotta kick this back side in a little bit. Okay, we're good there. Okay. So that's the two side walls for the closet. Right now, between these two 2x4s, we have 32 3/4, minus 1.5 inches because we have 3/4 pine, 3/4 pine. So we're at 32 3/4. So that brings us down to 32 minus 3/4 brings us down to 31 1/4. So that should be perfect width-wise for the fireplace, which is only 24 inches. I want to have a little strip of tile around it at least on each side. And then there'll be probably 2 rows above it. So that's gonna work good there. So now we need to cut 2 more of these plates for the ceiling. So we gotta measure out 51 1/4. Hopefully I'm not confusing everybody. Kind of confusing myself. So 51 1/4. That's the outside. 2x4 goes where the X is. Do this one too. I don't know that the upper plate is going to be level. When we screw a 2x4 this way, I don't know if it's going to be level with the one on the floor. So what I'm probably going to do is just put one screw up there, and then we can cut a 2x4 that goes between the bottom plate and the top plate. Slide it in there, and then we can put the level and see if we need to adjust the top plate. Bottom plate's going to stay where it's at. You just want to have your opening right here for the fireplace. You want it to stay consistent. So right now it's at 32 3/4. So you want it to stay 32 3/4. You know, as straight as possible, because if it's 32 3/4 at the bottom and 31 at the top, you're going to notice that. You're going to notice that the walls are going in. So you want to try to get it as straight as possible. But you can only do so much because you're working with an old house. I mean, this house isn't that old, it's 20 some years old, but you're still dealing with somebody else that put walls up that are not perfectly square, you know? So let's go cut, I'm gonna go cut this plate. Let's do one side at a time. So from this wall out, we're at 25 inches. Okay, that bottom down there is 24 1/8. So that's 7/8 crooked. This wall is. It's the bottom of this wall from about here down is bowing like that. So it's making that bottom plate not as long as this upper plate. But there's really nothing we can do. And we might have to fudge it a little bit, you know? So I'm gonna go cut one at 25 inches and we'll put it up there, and then we'll measure between them. Okay. These roof trusses are 24 inches on center. So in all theory, in all reality, this first truss should be on the outside of this wall. So in theory, about 2 inches less, about 22 inches, I would assume that there would be a roof truss somewhere around there. So we're gonna find it with the screw again. Just go back and forth until we find it, but it's gotta be somewhere close to where that mark is. There it is. That was off an inch. Okay, so that's our truss. Yeah, me building this is going to take a little longer if I video it, because I'm going to explain as much of this to you guys as I can, to hopefully, if anybody's doing a project like this, they can do it on their own without having to pay somebody an outrageous amount of money to do it for you. We'll go through the electrical and everything. So let's put this on the line up here. On my line. We'll check it with our square to our chalk line. We'll get it square. Right there. Kicked it a little crooked here. All right, right there. That's good there. So now I need to measure from the bottom plate to the top plate and go cut a 2x4. And then we can check it for level, see how crooked we are. 93 1/8. I'll be right back. Okay, if you're wondering, I'm cutting these with my miter saw. Just to get nice, even, straight cuts. I cut this a little long, and I don't know if I have a hammer in here. I have to go grab a hammer now. So take me longer to get all the tools gathered together right now than it is to work for the first day. And then by the second day, I'll be cleaning up. Okay, I grabbed a hammer and a pry bar. So now that I grabbed the pry bar, I shouldn't need it. I'm dreading taking a level to this. It's level that way. That's actually not too bad. 1/8 inch. 1/8 of an inch. That I can probably just fudge a little bit by sliding that top plate just a hair over. We're right on. We're screwing that in right there. So I'm going to screw this in on an angle through the 2x4 into the bottom plate. One on each side. I usually always use screws. Unless I'm building a whole entire room, then I'll use a nail gun. Perfect. All right. Make sure your screws go in far enough that it's not going to hit the wall board. And I always use 3.5 inch screws. So there's that. So basically how this is going to work out is this is the wall right here. I'm going to have to put a 2x4 right here on this outside edge. Okay? So that there'll be a 2x4 right on the edge of this 2x4 right here sticking this way. So that when you open this closet door, you're going to see that little bit of wall right there. But by doing that, at least I don't have to cut as much off the door. We're at 49 3/4 minus 1.5 inches. So we're at 48 3/4, 48 1/4 minus 1.5 inches. So I'm only going to have to cut like a 1/2 inch or so off of each door. So that's not bad at all. Nobody's ever going to notice that. So now that we got that first 2x4 in, what I'm going to do now is cut another 2x4 to go along the wall. And now we're going to put one in the center. Because that's where I'm going to mount my plug and switch to, probably. Right there. So I'm going to measure this back piece and go cut another 2x4. $93 1/4. So I'll be right back. Okay, let's put this one in. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this whole closet on this side on camera. I'll do the other one off camera because it's identical. That'll save a little bit there. A hair short, but that's okay. So I'm going to get my level and a screw. Level. What I did was I put this on an angle. I went through both 2x4s. So I went through this 2x4, through that one, into that top plate of a wall. Now we can go down to the bottom here and do the same thing. I already know we're level because I had the level on it. So long as it's lined up down here, we should be fine. But I am going to double check it. Within a 32nd of an inch, I'd say. I'm gonna go cut one more. Okay, I cut this one a 1/16 of an inch longer than the last one. I think what I want to do, this is 21 inches. I think I'm gonna go 12 inches over because I don't want my electrical boxes too far this way and I don't want them back too far. So we're gonna go 12 inches. Basically, this 2x4 is in there to nail electrical boxes to. It's really not serving any other purpose because the 3/4 inch pine can totally span this 24 inch distance and it wouldn't be a problem. Okay, now cutting this a little bit longer, I'll probably have to tap it in. Done. And the other wall, the other closet's going to look identical to that one. Now we're going to make the top plate. I'm going to measure from the drywall to the outer edge of this wall. We're at 51 3/8 of an inch. So 51 3/8, I'm going to go cut that. Tight fit. Now, like I said, this isn't a traditional way to frame walls, but these are just closet walls. Not a big deal. I'll screw these on an angle from here up. Because we have nothing to screw into on the ceiling. It's just drywall up there. I gotta go cut another 2x4. That's gonna go from here down to the floor. Measure that one. .94.5 should fit. Okay, let's put this 2x4 on. Yeah, a little short, not bad. Only about an 1/8 inch. We don't have to worry about leveling this one because the wall's already leveled. Now this 2x4 has a twist in it. So what I'm going to do is line it up as I go. I'll pull it back in at the top. Now our traditionally built wall for a door opening would have a second 2x4 here. It would come up to 82 inches. It would have a second one over here, stop at 82 inches. Then the header would sit on top of those. They're called jack posts. We're not going to use those, jack studs. We're not going to use those because we are tight on room in here. So we're just doing it, like I said, there's zero structure involved in this, so it does not matter. As long as the walls are sturdy enough to hold the doors and they don't shake around when you open and close them, you're fine. Just want to see here, we have 48.25. So we don't have to cut too much off the doors. Okay, now I got to measure from the floor up 82 inches. Two by four is going to go up there. Should be about 48.25. Yeah, 48.1/8. We're going to make it 48.25 to push that tight into the wall, and that's going to give that 2x4 against that drywall wall right there some more strength. So I'm going to go cut that 48.25. After we cut that, we just need to put a couple upper ones in for nailers, and then this opening should be done. I ended up cutting it a little bit under 48.25. I didn't want to bow this out by having it too tight. Let's see what we have for measurements up top. Let's just start on the outside here and go 16 and 16. I'm going to use these lines as my center of my 2x4. I'm not getting all fancy and crazy with this. So I just need 2 2x4s, 11 1/8, 11 1/8. Make sure I turn the camera back on. Put a screw on the back side. 3 screws is plenty strong enough for an 11-inch 2x4. So there it is. This closet's framed in. So like I said, when you open this door, you'll see this wall right here. I'll just put a piece of trim there. So I'll bring my pine boards to the edge of the 2x4, and then I'll cap the edge of the boards with a piece of trim. Not bad. Not bad at all. So what I'll do then is I will build the other closet identical to this on the other side of the room. And then tomorrow night, we will build the fireplace opening. We're gonna build a platform off the floor. I don't remember how high I have to measure the bedroom. I think it's a foot. I could be wrong. But we're gonna build a platform off the floor that the fireplace will sit off of. The fireplace will be even a little bit higher than the platform. And then we'll build that base, and then we can start running electrical wires for the plugs and switches in the closets. All right, well, that's gonna end this video. We got one closet framed in. I'll get the other one done off camera. We'll do the fireplace and electrical tomorrow. If you guys are liking what you're seeing, please like and subscribe. Any questions or comments, feel free to ask. Other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow.